worked there, or I volunteered there for about 20 years and did a variety of things. There was always something needed doing. But it was 20 years of feeling fulfilled and like I did something really worthwhile. Well, the only official position I held was vice president, and I was asked to be president, and I said, no, thank you, I would prefer to be vice president. So I had that position for umpteen years. Most of the time, Joyce Meyer was president, and she was very good at it, so I didn't want to take her place. So other than that, I started a new office at Westgate, right across the street from here, in a dentist's office. Well, the other half of the dentist's office, hoping to snag some university women, because at the time, our office was on Madison Avenue downtown, at the outskirts in the cheaper rent district of Madison Avenue. So the university girls weren't likely to get down there. Well, we tried it. I think we kept it going for maybe 2 years, and that was about it. And we didn't get enough to make it worth the rent, is about what it amounted to. We didn't get too much there. We got some, but not many. But I was glad that we started it and solved that problem anyway. The heart-to-heart program, I found that I was going through the internet, looking to see what other Heartbeat or that kind of organizations, what they were being successful with and what worked for them. I thought maybe it'd work for us too. So I found this information about the heart-to-heart, as we call it, and it went by different names. And so I took that to the board, and they said, yes, go ahead with it. So at that point, I said, well, I'm going to need help setting it up. So Kateri Walsh and Jenny Hepner both volunteered to help. So the three of us got the landlord we were still on Madison Avenue, got the landlord to clear out his storage room, and I bought some curtains and put them up in the back where it opened onto a back concrete driveway, and we set up shop. And we had 3 rooms where we could see 3 clients at a time, and it turned out to be very successful. So I'm really happy with that. That's still in operation and going much stronger even than I ever dreamed of. That was a good thing. Well, the thing that I found most appealing was that it's an earn while you learn program, which is wonderful. The people who come to us aren't necessarily looking for handouts. They are willing to earn what they get. So they come, and by earning, that means they're taking the lessons. It's a program that goes all the way from the beginning of pregnancy on through the early years of babyhood. And they come once a week for a 1-hour lesson. They have homework to do. They bring their babies with them if they need to, and often they do. And we babysit with them while they're doing their homework. And they just really get so much out of it. And then they can shop in our boutique. We have beautiful baby clothes that have all been donated. We don't take anything that's worn or stained or outmoded. It's all nearly new, or at least beautifully clean and ironed if necessary. And so they can shop in our shop. So this gives them dignity. It's not a handout. They earned every bit of it. So, yeah. So that was my baby. I really enjoyed that. It took a lot of people in Heartbeat to man it every day, and you needed at least 2 people there every afternoon for several hours. So, but the people were willing, the volunteers were very willing, because the outcome is beautiful. Well, every client is unique. Of course, every person is unique. So that holds very true in this situation too. We had young women come in who the fact that they're pregnant is the worst possible thing that could happen to them. They are positive. The world has come to an end, you know. And other women who come in and say, I'm happy, I'm pregnant, except I can't afford a baby. I can't afford to buy formula and diapers, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So we had all kinds of, there are as many different stories as there are women. And they're all legitimate too. It's a real need. So I got a good, I was raised in a comfortable situation. And I got to see up close and personal women who are in a terrible fix. And they think the only thing that can fix it is an abortion, which is so sad. So we did, way back then, we did the self-administered pregnancy test and then talked to the women after that. And every case is different, just as much as every woman is different. I think the reason Heartbeat of Toledo has been so successful for 50 years now is that we do things a little differently. Every volunteer puts in their whole heart and soul into the helping of all these women, and nothing can beat Heartbeat of Toledo.
I started volunteering with Dr. John Hillebrand, Lori Meyer, and Esther Applegate, who were the wonderful founders of this organization, who who founded it before the Roe v. Wade decision was made. They knew there was a need for help for these girls. I helped set up a newsletter. We started the Heartbeat Pulse, and we also reached out to a lot of the Catholic churches. We found out that a lot of people did not know what Heartbeat was or what we did. So we decided to put a letter, and we reached out to all the Catholic churches in the diocese, most of them, and we put these letters in the bulletin, describing what we were, what we did, our history, and asking for support, asking for volunteers, asking for financial support, and it really did seem to increase our financial situation. I had to leave after a couple years in the early 80s because I was pregnant again with my 5th child, and shortly thereafter I had a 6th one. But after they were all in school, I came back in the early 90s, and our good friend Joyce Meyer, who was the executive director, sort of, she was worked a couple days, did a lot of work, and was wonderful, and she encouraged me to come back. So that was in the early 90s, I'm pretty sure. I was asked to join the board, and I did that. We did that for a little while, and then they asked me to be president. And I agreed to do that, but I realized that we had to change the way we did things as far as the board, and we had to open up our board to community members, to men and women and business people and people who had a lot of experience with fundraising. So that was the biggest thing we did to start with, is to open up our board to community members. The first thing we did was hire an executive director, and that was the wonderful Pat Todak, who had much experience with fundraising, with nonprofit organizations, and she did a wonderful job right from the start. We had many ideas, and what we did was we gave them to Pat, and she ran with it. It was very easy to be president of the board in that case. One of the first things we wanted to do was become a medical facility and offering ultrasounds, which was an amazing thing because it took a lot of money, and she was able to raise that money and through the Knights of Columbus actually to buy an ultrasound machine. That opened up a whole new vista for our clients to be able to have them see their unborn child. It makes a big difference. We knew we had to raise more money, and we didn't have a lot of money for advertising, but we had wonderful suggestions from some of our board members that said, if we offer free breakfasts and free dinners, banquets, people will come, and because they get a free dinner, they will donate. And we thought, how can we pay for that? But it happened, and they ran it, and they did a great job, and we were able to bring in money that we never thought we could. And we were able to hire more people, more staff, social workers, nurses. That was a big change in our organization. We knew we had to move to a different place. We were downtown in a kind of not a good neighborhood, not kind of a rundown building. And, okay, Pat, find us a new place. And she starts looking, and right away we found this beautiful building on Sylvania Avenue near the mall. We thought, well, maybe the girls from inner city or those areas can't get there, but we're right on the bus line, so that worked. We did expand our advertising budget and started advertising in the malls for a while, billboards, radio ads, and that sent our message out to a whole new group of people. We did open up an office, a satellite office on the east side, which was also meeting a need out there. We added the Heart to Heart group already started, and that expanded exponentially in the new office. Beautiful facilities for education, both parents, mothers and fathers, where they could earn points to buy things for their babies. I think one of the things that really impressed me or meant so much to me was because I was a retired RN. I was able to be trained. I was one of the first ones to be trained to do limited obstetrical ultrasound. And what a wonderful experience that was, to meet with girls and actually be a part of showing them the beautiful life that was within them. And it made so much difference when they could see the heartbeat, when they heard the heartbeat, when they could see the head and the hands and the feet. It was amazing. It really made a difference, especially for those who really were considering having an abortion. I think one of the big things that I learned was that the young women that came in in our office were just scared and didn't know where to turn, didn't know what to do. And they were ordinary girls of all races, all ages. We had older women too, were frightened. And I think what I learned was we could help these people on a one-to-one basis with compassion and love, and make a difference in their lives. And it was a beautiful learning experience for me. I think Heartbeat has been successful for 50 years because of the wonderful, dedicated, generous people who have given of their time, talents, and treasures. They have been inspired and guided by the grace of God, because we are protecting His greatest gift, which is human life. And I really believe that with His continued help, we will continue on for another 50 years at least.
So passionate about Heartbeat because I've walked in the same shoes as some of our clients. It's not something that is common knowledge. A lot of people don't know, but I am post-abortive. I went through that years ago, before my time at Heartbeat, and it's one of those situations that I have a soft spot for the women that we serve, because I know what it's like to be in their shoes. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. You know, we all have our stereotypes of who gets abortions, and it's, you know, well, they must be young, they must be uneducated, unchurched, you know, not know the joys of motherhood, all of those things. And To be honest, I didn't fall into any of those categories. You know, I wasn't young, I wasn't uneducated, I was churched. I actually considered myself a devout Christian with strong beliefs, and I had children. I knew the joys of motherhood, and all of those things stacked up at the time to make that decision weren't enough. What I hear a lot, and what was the same for me, was I don't want to have to do this, but this feels like my only option. And that is what I love about Heartbeat of Toledo, because we do cover all of women's options. You know, we pride ourselves in talking about education, you know, and I firmly believe that knowledge is power. The more that we know, the better decisions that we can make. And at the end of the day, no decision that's made at Heartbeat of Toledo is made out of coercion or forcefulness. We empower women with information to make the best decision for themselves. I know for me, religion wasn't enough. You know, having children wasn't enough. I was faced with lies that I couldn't handle it, I couldn't afford another child, I couldn't do it. And what I've learned also through my background as a therapist is what we tell ourselves continuously affects our beliefs, and we start believing it. And the beliefs that we hold about ourselves affect our actions. And that was true to me, and I see it in women every day that I serve, both at Heartbeat and Anchored in Hope. I had religion, I had family back when I made that choice. And the only difference now is I have that education. I have children, and I did not see my children until they were at least 12 weeks old on the ultrasound. So in my young mind, that is when the whole parenthood journey began. I never saw anything before that. And I think after my abortion, I didn't want to. You don't want to go asking questions that you don't want the answers to. But once I started at Heartbeat, that was the first time that I witnessed a 6-week-old ultrasound. I witnessed an 8-week-old ultrasound and a 10-week-old, and seeing that life on that screen before I had ever seen it, having kids, it changed something inside me. And I've always had my personal beliefs, but in that moment, I knew after seeing what I saw, I know too much. I could never make that decision again. And I knew in that moment I could never do it again. And it was because of that education. Now, granted, I wasn't there as a client, but even as staff, I was exposed to it. And that's what a lot of women don't get exposure to, because if they don't come to a place like Heartbeat of Toledo, when else are they going to see a 6-week, 8-week ultrasound? You know, if they are lucky enough to get into an OB, they're not doing it until 10, 12 weeks at the earliest. So that is one unique thing that I enjoy about Heartbeat of Toledo, is we're able to offer that snapshot of life and what it actually looks like at that moment. I know even as a Christian, you know, coming from a religious family, we like to think that abortion is beyond us. It doesn't happen in our homes, in our churches, in our congregations. Well, let me tell you, it does. And I would say there is more incentive to hide an abortion if you have a religious family, to cover that up. The shame just exponentially compounds, and a lot of times people say, well, you know, don't they have support? Don't they have mothers? Don't they have sisters? And I had all those things too. But the shame does not allow you to share that with others. You want to hide it. So same for our clients. You know, they may have mothers who would be supportive, fathers who would be supportive, to help guide them through that process. But if they don't ever know about it, they can't help. So Heartbeat of Toledo, we are oftentimes the first, and a lot of times only, people who know about that pregnancy, that child that's in that woman's womb, and the pain and fear that she's feeling in that moment. And it's an honor, and I believe it's an honor, and I think with that comes responsibility too. All it takes is one person to walk along somebody, you know, to say, you can do this, I'm here for you. And sometimes that person is an organization. You know, sometimes it's that nurse, sometimes it's that sonographer, sometimes it's that advocate to just offer hope. You know, hope is so powerful, and it can completely reframe our point of view from something that is a problem or a catastrophe to something that is an opportunity and life-changing. I've seen the change that happens from just one person being in your corner, one person saying, I believe in you, I'm here to help you, you know, and being honest, like, things are going to get messy, things are going to be hard, but I'm here with you, you're not alone. And that's one thing that I love about Heartbeat is, you know, once that woman leaves our doors, she's followed up with throughout that pregnancy, you know, offered resources and support, and is not alone throughout that. Many women who have abortions, they are affected. You know, it may not be immediately, there may be an immediate sense of relief at first, but that pain, it does come out. Whether that's months, years, decades later, that pain comes out, and I've seen it, and I've worked with women who have struggled with it. I've gone through it myself and had to process through that. And at the end of the day, it is a loss. And what abortive women have found is they don't feel the right to grieve that loss because it was their choice. It's still a hurting woman, whether that hurt comes immediately or at the end. And what we've found at Heartbeat of Toledo is we have had women who have left our doors and had abortions come back and say, I regret my decision, or I'm struggling with my decision, will you talk to me? And that is a true testament for myself that we are doing a good job of offering love and non-judgmental support and hope to those women, that they can come back and talk through that pain and make a different decision the next pregnancy, you know? That's powerful for me. With being a nonprofit organization, there are a lot of people behind the scenes that make what we do happen. Staff, donors, volunteers, everyone involved with Heartbeat of Toledo has their own reason why. You know, whether that is to save the babies, whether that is to help the moms, whether that is to empower these women in decision making, whatever it is, we all have our own reason why we give to Heartbeat of Toledo, why we're employed with Heartbeat of Toledo. And what we do at Heartbeat of Toledo, we are there to help support the woman, educate her, empower her to make the best decision, because we do truly believe that the more knowledge she has in that decision, the better choice she'll make for herself. I wish I would have known about Heartbeat of Toledo back when I was faced with that decision, because I did experience the shame and I didn't tell anybody. Would my mom have helped me through the pregnancy? Absolutely. Would my sisters have been by my side? Absolutely. But I was too shameful to tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to know. And I really wish I would have had a place like Heartbeat of Toledo to come to, because I don't think I would have made the same decision if I would have known then what I know now. If I would have had that experience, that one person in my corner, and someone to show me what is actually going on inside my womb at that time. So I can say full-heartedly, I would not have made the same decision if I would have come somewhere like Heartbeat of Toledo. And that's why I am so passionate about it, because I want there to be a place like this for my daughters, you know, and my grandchildren. I want my daughters to come to a place where they feel safe and they can share stuff with me. I have 3 teenage daughters, and I would hope that if one of them finds themselves in a situation of unplanned pregnancy, they are able to go somewhere like Heartbeat of Toledo, and I know that they would find compassion and non-judgmental support and hope to help guide them through. I completely trust Heartbeat of Toledo with helping my daughters going through a situation like that, because I know it can be hard to go to your mom. It can be hard to go to people who you don't want to let down. And that's where Heartbeat of Toledo is a safe place for a lot of these women. You know, we don't know them outside those walls. We're not there to judge them, and they can come to us without recourse and talk about what's going on. And I want to make sure that Heartbeat's around to offer that to my daughters and my grandchildren one day. And the longevity of this organization is at my core. That's my passion, and that's why I will always be involved in one way or another.